Hi everyone, I'm Adam Harris, Chief Market Analyst, and welcome to this week's weekly analysis video brought to you by myself and Sabio Trade. As I said, don't forget you can access a discounted prop account membership using the affiliate link in this video's description. And of course, as I always tell you, Sabio Trade are very keen on supporting traders with talent and providing them with scalable capital, amongst other things. Right, that being said, let's have a look at what's going on in the markets. So, Euro dollar is now officially in a range. Was in an uptrend, then a downtrend, is now in a range. This is already connected. So much uncertainty around tariffs on the dollar. In the long run, it is feasible. It's more likely that the dollar is going to weaken, but we're not seeing that at this time. So for now, let's just expect that this is going to ping pong in this range for now, which makes trading it for day traders relatively choppy and tricky. End of day traders, it's just simply not offering you any opportunities. If we have a look at cable, same thing here. We started to go into an uptrend. We have the potential here for an inverse head and shoulders. So again, the likelihood of us ultimately breaking to the upside here is slightly more than us going in any other direction. But again, it's lost its trend from Friday. So there was a nice bit of a reaction there when there was a suggestion of rate cuts coming out, which traditionally rate cuts will reduce the strength of a currency and they will often offer a bit of a boost to the indices. So we had a bit of that kind of reaction, and then we've had a bit of a sort of a pullback on that. So the market just kind of lost its momentum there, which is, you know what, is very common these days. Let's have a look at dollar yen. So dollar yen, again, I would really advise against it for the time being. There's just no clear trend. Stay away from it. We have dollar CAD, which actually has a trend. This is one of the ones that clearly has a bit of a trend. Trading in line with this to the upside here actually makes quite a bit of sense. And the other one that has a trend is Kiwi dollar. Kiwi dollar has a nice bit of a downtrend heading lower. So again, I quite like the look of these pairs. They've got decent quality structures, nice flow to them, but dollar CAD and Kiwi dollar, interestingly, both of those actually obviously weakening faster than the dollar, so therefore that dollar strength coming through there. Let's have a quick look at gold. So gold is just working its way to the upside. Don't forget it's very much in a range at this point in time. We go have a look at it. Let's just make sure we are looking at it from a daily perspective. It is still stuck within a range at the moment, attempting to work its way up to the top. So it is capable of changing direction at a moment's notice. So please be aware of that. And at some point, we could potentially see it break out to the upside or the downside. Just be aware that it is currently within a range. Silver itself has actually been showing a little bit more upside. So I do expect us to try and push higher this week. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, interestingly, has come back to a level of support and resistance. It's back in this area. The question really is, will this level hold? So what I'm looking for this week is ultimately to produce a bullish candle to stay above this level, and that will provide a potential buying opportunity and a continuation to the upside. However, should we fall through, come back down to this 100,000 level, then we can reassess that. But for the time being, this is really the level that it needs to be testing. Ethereum, a little bit overextended, producing a bit of a bearish inside candle here. I think a break of the low of this would make sense to see this pulling back down towards the moving averages. So we could see a little bit of a bit more downside on that, but Bitcoin and Ethereum are not necessarily that correlated. So Bitcoin could still find itself staying where it is while Ethereum has a bit of a correction. Then moving on, having a look at the Dow here. So the Dow is also coming back down to test this area. Very nice place for it. If it can finish with a nice bullish candle today, we could see a break and a continuation higher. Just something to point out is we have had this sort of continued bearish divergence over time, which means that it is feasible at some point we will get a bit of a correction. We're also heading into September. And so September historically can have corrections, right? It's a known thing. We didn't really have much of one last year. It was very quick and it ultimately finished very strong. Could happen, but this is a really nice place for it to produce a nice bullish candle here. We could see a nice move to the upside there. The S&P forming almost the potential here for a double top. We'll have to keep an eye on this, but again, doesn't necessarily have to be that way. Ultimately, if we produce a bullish candle and you hit up here, what we're actually producing will be an ascending triangle. Let me just draw that in quickly. All right, so just saying, if we don't break down below here, below these lows, we'll stay within this and ultimately lead to a breakout. But we have this bearish divergence, continued bearish divergence. So one of the ways in which we can get out of this is to just consolidate for a while, and then it'll work its way out of the system, and then we can continue higher, which is a possibility. So again, as we approach September, it's going to be interesting to see how the market does this. I'd be surprised if it continued higher during September because it's a good opportunity for it to let off some of that buying steam. And then it can sort of rally up until Christmas. Then let's have a look at the NASDAQ. Again, the NASDAQ right now, everyone's looking at this. Could this be a potential head and shoulders? It could possibly, but again, I would rather break these lows here to really see us come back below that 50-period moving average. But here, what you can see for sure, without a doubt, notice how the MACD is just continuing to trend downwards, and it's been doing that for a while. The last time we had something like this, we ended up having that big correction when the tariffs news came out. Okay, so we could see something similar there. So just be prepared as we head into September that we could have a correction, but in every other respect, otherwise, and aside from that, I'd be expecting this to continue higher. Having a look at the Russell 2000, so Russell 2000 has been generally very nice and bullish. It's got a nice little uptrend here. I'm always a little bit cautious when you get a breakout and a pullback, which was perfect, but then you get an immediate move and an immediate pullback as well, because normally that means you're kind of running out of steam. But again, still for now, I expect this to be bullish, and overall, this looks really nice. So I'd expect this to continue higher this coming week. And then we've got the FTSE, which is also in a beautiful uptrend coming back into the moving averages. So I'm looking for a nice bullish candle to form here. And then looking for that to continue to the upside. Not much divergence here. Not really worried about that. This trend, for the most part, seems very nice and healthy. Just pointing out here how well some of the indices are doing. Here we've got, in general, just take note of how Euro Stocks, is testing resistance where it is at the moment. But still, just the very fact that it's just continued to move higher. Looking here at Spain, Spain's trend, the quality of the trend here, very nice and very bullish. Markets are very happy here. We go across to Australia. Australia's is trending incredibly well. Very nice place, potential buying opportunity this week. Looking for a small bullish candle to form here. And then a continuation to the upside. So the market's looking very nice and strong there. And then, of course, we move over to Hang Seng. And overall, this is battling with some resistance here, similar to the EU50, but in principle, just really, really nice and bullish. And for the most part, at some point, I expect this to ultimately break up and keep going. Just incredible bullishness across most of the markets, even outside of the US. And then finishing off with some equities here. NVIDIA continuing to push up towards its highs over there, remaining bullish. Tesla, significant, worthwhile mentioning here, breaking out to the upside, looking particularly bullish at this point in time. We've got Alibaba continuing to tick a little bit higher there as well. So Alibaba, one of the ones I really like because it simply just is something different from US stocks traditionally. And it looks like it's doing particularly well. Even here, Netflix has pulled back into the moving averages and attempting to continue to move higher. So it's got a possible lower high here so far, but also very much in the same place. It could continue upwards. And finishing with Google, you could just see how well that has continued to tick upwards. Ladies and gentlemen, most of the markets are looking particularly bullish at this point in time. We do have September looming, which can give us the opportunity for a correction. The opportunity for the markets to let off some of that buying pressure. Then we can have a rally through till Christmas. Yes, there's so much going on with the tariffs and so much uncertainty, absolutely. But in isolation, a lot of the markets technically continue to remain looking bullish. There we go. I'll leave you with that. Have a fantastic week.